Yeah, that could have been better. Like, like a lot better. First, I just want to say I don't think this was necessarily a bad episode, but when it comes to Daredevil, I have really high standards. This one just felt a lot weaker compared to the other two, and especially when compared to the Netflix series. Like, I like the idea of Matt defending White Tiger in court and, wanting to focus on the legal battle, but the fact that literally nothing else happens is kind of frustrating. In this, any investigative work is done by Cherry, who's basically working as a correspondent, getting his hands dirty for Matt, whereas in previous seasons, Matt would be the one who's suiting up at night going to get the information himself. Now, because Matt has given up being Daredevil for like the 15th time in Marvel continuity, he just won't do it himself, I guess. Also, I guess the cop that he beat up in the last episode isn't the least bit curious about how he got his clock cleaned by a blind guy. Like, he throws it in Matt's face at one point as like a cheap little jab, but past that, he just kind of laughs it off and doesn't ever come up again. So I don't really understand what to make of that. And there's still no word on where the other cop is because, last time we saw him, Matt dropped him on his head. And considering that Matt isn't currently being arrested for homicide, I'm guessing that means that it was a collarbone breaking and not his neck. I don't know, man. Still seems sketchy. Matt also just felt a little off to me in court. I mean, it's nothing to do with Charlie Cox's performance. I think it's more so attributed to the writing of this episode. I mean, it could also be that he's not tag teaming with Foggy like we normally have seen before, but I don't know, something still just, it didn't sit right with me. Maybe it is the fact that there was just a really fast pace to all these court proceedings. This is the shortest episode released thus far, and I really hope they don't keep getting shorter. We need that time to breathe, to slow down and flesh things out like the original Netflix series did, but I'm worried that this is gonna just kind of cram things down to just the essentials and not give it any substance or nuance, and that's really concerning to me. Like, Matt has always been charismatic in court and occasionally unpredictable, a loose cannon, if you will, but the fact that he's ousting Hector's identity as the White Tiger in court felt really weird. Like, I get this was meant to be a Hail Mary, pun intended, because if he didn't do this, then the whole court case would have gone belly up and he would have had nothing to prove Hector's innocence. But it just feels weird because you have a former vigilante ousting another vigilante. Meanwhile, the Sokovia Accords still are in effect. I really don't even know at this point. But we do have a mayor, at least, who is very tough on the whole cape and mask situation, so was that really a smart idea?
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
And maybe that was the point, to like just stick it to Fisk and show that not all vigilantes are bad guys and that there's actually good men out there doing good work. But hope that statement was worth it because you got your client killed. And that was especially annoying because while, yes, it was shocking, I was hoping we would get a lot more with White Tiger this season, and the fact that the only clear shot of him in the suit we get is the shot from the trailer, that was pretty disappointing. Like, we don't ever get to see him do any vigilante work or him like saving people or fighting crime outside of that security camera footage we get, and we don't ever find out what his amulet... There we go. We don't ever find out what his amulet does or what kind of powers it gives him. That was kind of frustrating too. And then he just gets capped in the streets like a chump after he's just kind of jogging down a little alleyway or whatever, and then suddenly, bam, he's dead. That was pretty unceremonious if you ask me. And very eerily convenient, the fact that they wrapped up that character and the actor had died in real life. And let's make one thing clear. You are being played for a fool if you think that was actually Punisher who shot him. Because if it was actually him, we would have seen his face. They would have made a whole reveal like, hey, look, it's the guy. They wouldn't have just shown the skull, which the skull even looks slightly off. Certain details about it don't look the same as it does on John Bernthal's actual Punisher vest. And also, if you've been following any of the production news with this show, you'd know that there's a bunch of set photos with these corrupt cops wearing Punisher vests, and this ties into the whole Punisher tattoo situation that they've got going on. Which, by the way, I just have to laugh at how obvious some of these are. I mean, tattoos are hard to cover up in general, but when you get it right there on your wrist, where it's so obvious that the second your sleeve rolls back, it's visible. Like, what? I'm guessing this is like a frowned upon organization or allegiance to this kind of what I can only assume is like a gang. And then in the courtroom, you see one of the cops, and he has one of those tattoos on his freaking neck right here in the most obvious place possible. And it's like, are you even trying to be discreet? Like, if anything fishy happens around you, dude, you are literally wearing the probable cause. But anyway, I guarantee the entirety of next week's episode is going to be Matt tracking down Punisher after this guy gets killed, and he's going to confront him about it, and Punisher's going to be all insistent that he had nothing to do with it, and then this will kind of be picking up the pieces of him getting back to being Punisher. And then by the end of the episode, Matt will finally put on the suit again, and in fact, I bet the episode will just close with this shot right here from the trailer. Either way, while I know I just ranted right there for a bit, this is still an alright episode. The worst of Daredevil is still better than a lot of the other MCU Disney Plus TV slop that we've been fed over the years. But make no mistake, this was my least favorite episode of this show so far. All the performances are still good, and I was obviously invested in the plot still. I just wish that they would have packed a little bit more punch into this episode and made it feel a little bit more like the first two episodes. And that's what I'm hoping for with the remaining 6 that we have left in this season. You know what? I didn't do scores for the first 2 episodes. Okay, so first 2 episodes, I'm going to give them a 9 out of 10. And for this third episode, I'm just going to give it a 7. So let me know in the comments, do you think this episode was good? Was it better than the rest of them? Was it worse than the rest of them? Do you think that this show has a good trajectory moving forward? Do you think that this is completely and utterly ruining the Daredevil mythos that we have set up in the MCU? I would love to hear what you have to say, but please, if you disagree with someone, don't go to war over this. It's just a TV show after all, not the most important thing in the world. We can have discourse like adults, but we don't need to be all tribalist over it. But if you want to support the channel, please like this video, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when I'm uploading. If you want more from me that isn't just YouTube videos, you can also find me on 4 other platforms I have linked in the description down there, where I post tons of reviews that don't always make it onto this channel. But until next time, guys, God be with you, and take care.